All right, everybody, welcome. Let's get this thing started. 3, 2, 1. Yo. All right. Let's have a little bit of fun. It's Wednesday. Sam Pittman talked with the media. So we got that going for us. Let's make sure you guys like, share, subscribe. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. I would greatly appreciate that. Of course, if you're new here, make sure you subscribe. Yo, what's up, Mike? How you doing, Eagle? Got that first like, though. There you go. Yeah, all right. John Hawes. Been a minute, Hawes. Glad you could join us, man. Paul. Oh, my God. Don't you spam that nonsense in my chat, sir. Don't you spam it. How dare you? All right, Sam talked to the media. He had a few things to say. We're going to go over that. I've been asked, it's been a pretty heated – it's been a very hot button thing with Jake Beckett on Twitter. Man, the guy as a Razorback was awesome to watch. I mean, I'll just two things can be true at once, right? Or multiple things can be true at once. Jake Beckett was awesome. People that are trying to minimize what he did in college, his last year here was he was always clutch. He always came in when you needed him at the the biggest play on a 3rd and long or a 3rd and short. He'd come up with a TFL or a sack. He had a brief NFL career. Of course, we know he went on to the military. Of course, anyone that serves the military, man, I mean, that's awesome. That's awesome. I will say some of the things that he said on Twitter, I just the man is entitled to an opinion. Now, I know again we had someone in our Discord last night saying, well, it's free speech, so on and so forth. And yeah, no, I mean, he could say whatever he wants. I mean, my thing is whatever, it is obviously as long as you're not calling for violence or, you're not calling for acts of violence or anything like that. I mean, that's whatever. I mean, free speech is free speech. You're protected by the First Amendment. Absolutely. He is a pretty outspoken conservative, a Republican. He says things that bother people, at least when it comes to politics. There are plenty of left-leaning Arkansans, not even just Razorback fans, Arkansans who come after him, and he's not afraid to quote tweet them or reply back. One thing I don't understand, and it's bizarre that I don't know. I guess I understand blocking people to an extent. Like if they're like I've had people threaten me with physical violence, they're going to meet me. Well, here's the thing: I talk to people, could be my neighbor for all I know, or someone a few houses down. Yeah, I mean, if they're threatening me with physical violence, I'm probably going to block them. If they're just trolling me to troll me, then eventually, yeah, I'll probably block them. But when it comes to words, call me fat ass or whatever, it takes a little bit more than that. You guys know. I mean, I've been called what was that? Kick Science, who's pretty well known or was well known on Twitter before he gets banned. I don't know how many times he's been banned off Twitter. That guy called me a slack-jawed redneck racist because I was ready to move on for Mike Anderson. After how many years? I was ready. It's time to move on. We could do better. And they did. And since then, Kick Science he's gone. He's never come through. I don't think I blocked him. But he certainly called me some names, and he's not the only one. He's definitely not the only one. I've been attacked. So I understand using the block button for that. I get it. But it seems like he's just blocking people that he says they're low IQ responses. Man, I don't know. I guess the tweet that I think a lot of people were really upset about was him talking about. I was trying to find it here. He's tweeted quite a bit. He's gone after sports journalism. He's certainly gone after the writers. Pretty hardcore. Let's say hardcore. I mean, he's going after him. I mean, whatever. he he quote tweeted our good friend Will, his picture, his black and white photo from his Twitter profile. And he says, literal soy jack sports fan. I mean, this just, I don't know. But he made a comment about, I swear I can't find it. He's tweeted so much. It was about Sam Pittman's mental health stuff that he was talking about. I don't know why I can't find it. I mean, there's just so many tweets. And he said something along the lines, I'd rather quote the damn tweet, but he said something along the lines like Sam Pittman is using that basically as a escape or a distraction to get fans, in the media to not talk about what's going on the field, the product on the field, but to talk about Twitter and all this other stuff. Of course, Sam talked about the mental health aspect of his job. He had to be a counselor. He had to be a therapist. And that's really nothing new since the age of social media going back a decade. Like fans, even before that, I mean, my God, MySpace existed, but it was nothing like what we see now, obviously. It didn't have the reach, user engagement and all that stuff. It's a different world, and it has been for the better part of a decade. And so it's nothing really new on the job, and I'm sure Sam is an offensive line coach when he was at Georgia or whether he was here his first time as an offensive line coach. I'm sure he had to do it then too. So Jake, our guy Jake here, says that it's just a major distraction. And maybe, listen, that's his opinion. I don't think he was trying to, and again, I haven't read all of his damn tweets because there's a lot. I don't think in that specific tweet he was minimizing mental health. I think he was saying Sam was minimizing mental health by using it as a distraction. I don't believe that to be the case, by the way. Sam's just, I mean, he's telling him, like, if you've been around, if you've listened to enough of these interviews that he's given with the media, sure, some things have changed, but mostly Sam is the same guy that he was since day one. He is that kind of slow talking. He's going to kind of tell you what's going on. That's just kind of how he is. And he's just telling you, I've had to, he was talking about dealing with his punter. His punter said that Twitter was beating him up pretty good. And Sam was kind of made some funny remarks about, well, are they talking about my chest? Which, by the way, is so weird. That's so weird to go after a guy, because of his physique. Or anyone, guy or girl. I've never understood that. I've never, women we know get, I mean, if they post, anybody, it doesn't have to be just a woman. Anyone, male or female. You're going to get, like, if you, if like I said, I've been attacked. I've had people come at me. I've got pretty thick skin. It's I can't say that it's ever really bothered me. I mean, sure, there's been some comments, especially early on when I was trying to figure this whole thing out. There were some really like, whoa, shit kind of comments, So again, I don't know. I don't really I'm only saying anything about it because I've had about 3 or 4 different group chats that I'm in ask me about it. Discord has carried on about it. So obviously we're going to kind of address it here a little bit. I wish I could find that freaking tweet, man. I know someone's going to Jake Beckett did nothing wrong, and he retweets that. He made a tweet yesterday or last night, I guess. I'm hearing that the Arkansas Athletic Department is considering hiring me as their new director of mental health and emotional intelligence. Should I accept the position? Any ideas for day one on the job? I mean, I almost want to say this is like him trying to be Clay Travis, maybe. And listen, sometimes I agree with Clay Travis. He could be a sensational. He could be a little bit, too on the nose, maybe, and bother people the way he puts things out on Twitter. But yeah, I'm not really. I don't understand the idea of going after Hog fans. I don't get quote tweeting people's picture, their profile that's clearly a picture of them. I don't understand that. I don't get why, you're trying to run Wasn't he running as governor or what the hell was he running for? He was running for something, maybe a certain district. And him and Phil Elson apparently been going at it. I don't know, man. I don't really like to even comment on this stuff, but I am because I know it's kind of a hot button topic, and it's certainly something that everyone has been talking about. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, group chats. I've been DM'd. Someone asked me what Arky56 thought about it in Discord. And I've talked to Dad at least twice since then, maybe more, and I don't think he's even brought it up. I don't think he cares. If it happens on Twitter, he generally doesn't care. And I think that's most fans. They don't care. And that's kind of where I'm at. I'm also 40. Like, man, he has every right to say whatever he wants. I don't care. Do I agree with it? No. Is some of it pretty damn silly? Yes. And that's really it. That's my only take. So, yeah. Brandon Walker is the ringleader on joking about Pittman's chest. Did he start that? Was that Brandon Walker? Oh, he was trying to be a state senator. Oh. Sam has a pick with Huckabee Sanders out there. Okay. Oh, there's Arky56. If you guys were curious about what he was thinking on this, so what if Coach Pittman took a picture with the governor? Why is that a big deal? Oh, that's okay. He's just talking about okay. Dad, do you have any opinion on this? Do I need to call you and put you on speakerphone so everybody can hear you? Yeah, I agree. A lot of idiots on social media. I agree. I don't think that's wrong. I generally just don't care. I mean, there's been a lot of drama over the years. I kind of laugh at it, whatever. I'm too old to care about that shit. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm just too old. All right. Yeah. Share the content. Like and share. Subscribe if you're new here. See, I didn't even put a lot of homework into that one. I just didn't really care enough. I thought I'd bring it up, kind of dust it up a little bit, kind of talk a little bit about it. But at the end of the day, whatever. And I'll tell you this too, if you don't like him, unfollow him. Unfollow him. Because when you give him attention, you're giving him what he wants. I mean, really, you're literally feeding him. You're feeding I don't know if is it trolling? Is that what he's doing? Because it feels that way. It feels like he's just kind of having fun with it. I don't know. I don't agree with him. And I don't agree that Sam is using anything as a distraction. I think they take that pretty serious up there. I'll tell you, I think they take that pretty serious, talking about mental health. And I don't think it's being used as a distraction by Sam Pittman. I disagree strongly. All right. Mr. T-Dub, what's up, man? Please have Pops Hudson. God. Pops Hudson call in. Come on, Arky56. That's great. I don't have he would just have to call me and I'd have to put him on speakerphone. He won't do it though. I know my dad, he won't do it. He may have already bolted. I mean, he does. He's in here for like 4 minutes and then he bolts. He doesn't care if we're talking about it. He doesn't care. He's like, oh, whatever. And he just leaves. That's cool. Shout out to the sponsors. No, he's not going to call in. Okay, he's still here. He's not going to call in. All right, Dad. They're curious, man. The people want to know, what are your thoughts on Jake Beckett's antics on Twitter? I doubt you even fully know the situation because I didn't do a very good job of spilling it out there. But long story short, he put out a tweet that was basically claiming – did he delete the tweet? Because I couldn't find it. Basically claiming that Sam was using the mental health stuff as a distraction. People talking about his weight on social media. So his thing was, Jake Beckett's thing is that Sam is using that as a distraction, so we're not talking about the 2-2 record. Do you agree or disagree? I'm sure you've listened to what Sam had to say. Just because they're former players doesn't mean they can't say stupid shit. I mean, I'm just saying that. Shout out to the sponsors, Direct Service Overhead, the garage door company located in both Central and Northwest Arkansas. Same-day services, quality parts, affordable outcomes. Give them a call today at 501-244-3667. Remember, free estimates, same-day services, quality parts. Link is provided for you down below. Also, the Odd Soul Craft Bar and Pizzaria on Emma Street, right here in Springdale. Fantastic pies. Got some pictures in Discord. They have their own server on our Discord, on Tuss Talk Discord, on our server. They have their own sponsor page, as does Direct Service Overhead. And it also provides with you got a menu there. You got a menu. So you can check out what they have to offer. And look at those. Every time I scroll down here, I'd see these pies. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna run by the Odd Soul. All right, man. I can't let that one go through, Steve-O, but that's hilarious. Oh, I wish chat could see that. We can't let that one go through because that will get this. I might get in trouble for that one, but that's pretty good. All right, let's queue up what Sam. So Sam talked to the media. I only grabbed enough of the Zoom call for about maybe 6.5 minutes worth of footage. So we'll kind of go. We'll go. Like we did last. What was that? 2 weeks ago. We'll go piece by piece because I kind of cut it up to where we can. Kind of talk about what he had to say. All right, let's find this here. Is this it? Here we go. I'm going to have to turn my mic down.
It might a little bit more. Obviously we watched it. It might. Certainly the fourth down play and things.
Turn my mic up. If you didn't see it, he was asked about playing Bobby Pittman a year ago, a year ago, if that's helping them, prepare for this game for A&M. So having that experience, playing Bobby Petrino's offense a year ago.
That we've got to put in our mind. But Missouri State's quarterback was mobile as well as what Luke is. So, Max is. And so we'll see. But, yeah, we have looked over that to see what some of his tendencies might have been and how they relate to the team that he's coaching this year. Hudson's had a shoulder banged up a little bit, and we just decided, we were going to try to get it totally healed up this week, which I think we're close to doing. I think we're going to go ahead and have him in green again today. Safeties, I think the safeties have played pretty well this year. Obviously, in man-to-man coverage, we've had a little bit of I won't want to say problem, but our guys getting behind us have been more corner-driven than safety-driven. So I'm liking how all three of those guys have played. And, of course, you can call it four with Snacks being a hog, but, I kind of look at him more of as a linebacker than I do a safety. But, yeah, I think they play pretty well, and I think Clark will be totally healthy for the game.
So Hudson Clark, a little banged up. I think, yeah, it sounds like we're gonna get to see him on Saturday. Sam also mentioned that the corners are. I mean, basically, it sounds to me like he's just coming out and saying it. Corners are getting beat. It's not really on the safeties, which is typically the issue, right? I mean, it's always, when you're in, especially when you're in like man coverage, it's going to fall on typically the corners if they're getting beat. You're supposed to have safety help over the top. Sam is saying the issue here is corners are getting beat. It's not really on the safeties. Not a real big surprise there.
Yeah, you can certainly count on him. He's athletic. He's fast. The game's really important to him. He's come along. I mean, he's come fast, as far as that goes. Looking at, has started a game, played in played a lot in each game. And certainly he's going to play a bunch this week as well. So a lot of it is that he came in ready. He's a grown young man, but he's just an exceptional athlete and doing some really good things, and he'll continue to get more and more reps as the season goes on.
Have you seen him really improve since week one? Because he struggled a little over at Little Rock. I mean, as you would expect, true freshman. Mm-hmm. He talked about that a little bit last night. Have you seen a vast improvement since that first game?
Really have, and that usually what happens with playing. You always, if you have a talent, and then playing builds your confidence on that talent. You kind of turn it loose a little bit more, or you understand what your responsibilities are a little bit more, and you become the person on the field that you're capable of being. So I think that's what happens with every freshman, as you see with Has. He's just getting better each week because his confidence is just turning it loose each and every week a little bit more.
Okay, Nate wanted to ask you about restoring the confidence.
I want to give you guys a heads up. YouTube has changed their ad layout, the way they do ads. It's different. I literally just saw it as I went live. So I think if you don't have the YouTube, the Premiere, you're gonna get hit with some ads during the live. I think they're gonna put them maybe after. I hope they're set up for after, so you guys aren't in the live and you're getting hit with these ads during the live show. If you do, I apologize. They changed these. There was not even an email sent out about these changes with these ads. I'm gonna try and go over them tonight or tomorrow and try to figure out just how exactly they're. Sometimes you can literally not have a video monetized and they still throw ads in. So it's frustrating. But anyways, I like what he said there about Braxton. Braxton's did not start off great. He didn't. I thought after week one we would see less and less of him. It's been the opposite. We're seeing more and more. We're seeing more and more of him. So, and he's getting better. He's a freshman. And he's someone you couldn't afford to redshirt. And I said all offseason, I said safety is a spot that I'm concerned about. Well, now you got a true freshman that's in the mix. So, Anthony White said he just got the ad. So, I don't know. I'm going to have to go over the ad settings. I don't know. I mean, obviously I got to monetize the videos, but they're going to throw those ads out there whether they're monetized or not. So I don't really know. They're screwing the whole ad thing up. The way they had it set before was way better. And then the last 9 to 12 months, they really fudged up the how they do the ads. But anyways, going back to Braxton, the safeties, I do think safety play has been slightly better than what. Well, I mean, obviously Simeon Blair, not on this. No, he's not in the back end of this defense. So yeah, there's been a huge improvement there. The corners, we saw these guys get beat. We saw it against LSU. We're going to talk about A&M on Friday, but I don't know that it's the same situation, but their offense can be pretty potent, and these corners they're going to be put on their heels here and there. Oh my air filter just shut itself off. Okay. Too much cigar smoke. Finish this out here.
In the defense, they played really well till he said the last drive of Saturday night and then the second half. And also he wanted to know, does A&M present any of the similar problems on offense to LSU?
Absolutely. They obviously have Stewart and Anais Smith and I mean they're good, and so they have guys that can run by you. That if they catch it, they're going to be hard to get on the ground. Certainly have a really good quarterback in Max Johnson. He started a lot of games in the SEC. So yes, some quite similar situations there because they have really good wideouts and a guy that can get it to them. Our defense, we played really well for almost a half and then got beat a few times. The defense as a whole, if you look at the front and the linebackers played pretty well. We got beat in man coverage a few times and got beat in some zone coverage. That's got to get fixed. And I think if we do, I think we can put a full game together. And certainly that's what we're hoping happens this week. You know, probably Dominion has played last.
Okay, this is a good question by Trey Biddy. Asked, what has surprised you so far? Maybe some things that haven't really been discussed yet. And this is Sam's response. This is really like I feel like I could do like a whole 45 minutes on what he's about to say. This is, well, just listen for yourselves.
Last week, probably better than I thought he would. I felt like our offensive line would be cohesive by this time, but it's hard because we haven't been healthy up there. I look for that to certainly improve. We are a hard playing football team. Us playing smart has been something that has surprised me because I did not think that we wouldn't play smart, and we sometimes, you know, with all these pre-snap things, we're not playing smart. But I felt like most of it, I knew what we had. Our wide receivers are playing better than I thought they would in the spring. Probably about what I thought they would once fall camp concluded, to be honest with you.
Okay, so right there, he's acknowledging that the mistakes, he thought they wouldn't be as bad with the mental errors up front, especially on the offensive line. He talked a little bit about, and we know the issues with the offensive line. Like I feel like we've beaten that to death, but it bears repeating. Offensive line has been, I don't want to say atrocious. I think that's too strong of a word. Maybe some of you would use it. But all things considered, it is not what we thought it would be. Now, he says, you know, it's injuries and we're trying to get healthy up front. And it is. I mean, let's not sit here and act like injuries haven't played a role. But, I mean, we're not talking about missing 3 guys due to injuries, right? You got the situation with Manuel at left tackle. And maybe there's some guys, I know there's some guys with some bumps and bruises. But the mistakes and the offensive line being in the situation that it's in, I think he's surprised. He's really surprised by it. He did mention the good. He talked about Dominion. He started it off with Dominion. I was also impressed with Dominion last weekend. I'm sure you guys were as well. He looked like, in fact, he made our poll. He made the poll, like what's one of the most, or the positive thing that happened from that loss against LSU on our community page. It was, and I'm surprised. I think it got like 5% of the vote, if that. Dominion looked back to form, and that's a big deal. That's a big deal that you're getting that guy. You know, he's getting healthier. We know he's dealt with some back issues. Obviously not super duper serious as far as we know, but yeah, I'm glad that he started off with that because I agree. Dominion looked like he's slowly getting back to what we kind of saw last year. But then, you know, he goes on to talk about again, the problems and the penalties, the pre-snap stuff, the in the offensive line not being cohesive. And I thought it was good to hear him just come out and say it. You know, I mean, he's already talked about it a lot. You know, most of it's been, guys, we're not the only team that's fluctuating up front on the offensive line. You know, so I kind of think this was a good way to kind of bring it out of him a little bit. And you know, Sam doesn't want to talk. He doesn't want to go into depth about what's going on the offensive line. He's tired of talking about it. But he did there. He did, and I think he gave an honest opinion. I'm surprised by these things. I'm surprised by the penalties. I'm surprised by the lack of cohesiveness up front on the offensive line. I kind of thought he might go into a little bit of detail with maybe LSU, because there were some things that happened in that game that we hadn't seen this year, like the secondary. And I know, and I bragged on their wide receiver core last week, and I still think it holds up, especially with one guy who's a potential top 15 pick. They're very, very talented, but the corners got torched. I kind of thought he might go into that a little bit. Like, yeah, I know this question was mostly what have you been surprised by so far? I thought maybe he would kind of veer into, yeah, and I was a little surprised that our secondary struggled the way that it did, as badly as it did in the second half to LSU. Corners, and again, I think some of you and the people who told me that the secondary was going to be elite, they're gone. They're not here talking to me anymore. Because I said, and I said this on Mark Rogers, I said it here, and I think I'll keep saying it. Like, I think the secondary is going to be drastically improved, but they're still going to be in the 50s and 60s in terms of total yards allowed. And when you're talking about 130 teams ranked, they're going to be somewhere in the middle. But that is a massive improvement. I mean, that's like a 180. You'll take that. You got to be okay with that, right? Because of the amount of turnover, the personnel change on the roster, the personnel change in the staff. It was something Sam Pittman clearly wanted to, get fixed. And I think we've seen a swap in terms of, I don't know where they're ranked at. I haven't actually checked that today, but I know it's going to be probably in the 60s or 70s. That's where I thought they would be. Can they change that? I think there's opportunity here, but A&M's going to have something to say about that. They're going to push you in the passing game a little bit. Maybe Ole Miss, Yeah, I thought that was a good response by him, though. I thought everything else he talked about was good, and he's right. They are issues, and so much so they've surprised him. So I thought that was a really interesting response, and it's one that I'm glad he provided. Yo, Ty, I want to see good halftime adjustments. I'm with you. We didn't get a Drew Sanders yet in the secondary transfers. Are you talking about like that caliber of player, R.D. Miller? Is that what you mean? A team captain cannot keep making the same mental mistakes over and over, says Philip White. Yeah. Yeah, they haven't, RD. I don't disagree, but I do. I mean, you got to give 15 some time. He's a redshirt freshman. You got to give him a little bit of time. Not everyone's going to come in the way Quincy McAdoo did as a true freshman and be a complete playmaker as quickly as he was. He was special last year, man. You kind of hate to, you wish he was here, and you kind of wonder what the secondary would look like with him here. Lasuzzo says, I think Singletary will be a star. Got to give him time. I certainly believe he has a very high ceiling. I thought I had more Pittman. I do have transcripts here, though. Something else someone talked about with the red shirting stuff. It doesn't sound like they're going to be burning any red shirts anytime soon, if I'm reading this right. I was there in the Zoom, and I heard him talk about this, but his response, I think what he was trying to say, because the question was essentially red shirt decision looming. So are you talking to some guys – because Ty Washington, apparently last year, the tight end came up to him and talked to him about this. He said, nobody's come up to me and talked to me about the red shirt situation. That's probably good, because then that means no one's really upset that they could be facing a red shirt. I kind of wonder, and he mentioned, he didn't say names. Let me see. There might be a guy or two that hasn't got to – that either by injury or hasn't played yet, or wasn't injured, only played in a game or two. There may be talk about 2 or maybe 3 of those guys, not as many as question marks this year, but nobody has come to me like Ty did last year. There's probably 2 guys that we are looking at trying to figure that out, but this would not be 5 for either one of those 2. So anyways, yeah, 2 guys that have some time left before they burn. it feels like the theme for him has been, let's play them in 3 in the regular season games, talking about the freshmen, and then we'll play them in their 4th in the bowl game. You kind of wonder, what about Dozier, the wide receiver? Does he get in the mix a little bit more? He had a really strong fall camp. I think he has played a little bit this year. He hasn't burned his red shirt. Well, I mean, nobody has, right? No one yet, technically, unless they play in this 5th game. So that's why this question was asked. So if they play, if you see a freshman who has played in the previous 4 and you see him play Friday or Saturday, that means they're burning their red shirt. So, yeah, there's still some options there. I wonder if it's Dozier. I wonder if Augustive, who did get some carries in game 1, if I recall. I feel like that's the only game I think that's the last time we saw him. Maybe I need to look at that. But, yeah, I mean, there's certainly some options there. You got some defensive players as well that they might be in position. And then you have the guys, too, the freshmen who contribute on special teams. They're probably going to burn some of those red shirts. My philosophy has been, especially during the transfer era, you have to be vigilant on how you use your red shirts for some. But the guys that are, and to be honest, this is probably the on the lower end side, not the majority of your freshmen, but the minority of your freshmen. If they're good enough to where they're rotating in practice with the 2s and 3s, I say burn their red shirts. And if you have an opportunity, I say burn the majority of the red shirts, because in this day and age, these guys, they want to play. I can tell you that right now. They want to play. These freshmen want to be on the field. And if that means special teams, whatever, that's a big deal. But you also have to understand there are some of those guys that are just not ready. You don't want to just burn their red shirt for the sake of burning it. That I understand. But you get those guys that in practice, they're rotating with the 2s and the 3s. Maybe they get a couple shots at fastball with the 1s. You might as well. I mean, and Dozier's certainly is certainly someone that comes to mind on the offensive side of the ball. So I think they could end up burning his red shirt. I don't know. I guess it kind of depends on, obviously, health. I mean, how healthy everybody stays. And I still don't know what they're doing with Centennia, who was redshirted last year. I understood it. He wasn't here during spring camp. That's the other side of it too, right? You got guys that weren't here during spring. They're likely, like Shamar Easter, they're likely to get a red shirt. And some of your transfers as well, assuming they're eligible. What's up, William Phillips? How's it going, man? Mark Douglas says, Augustive, I believe, had 1 play in each of the last 2 games. Oh, you're right. The wing. Yeah. The 3-back set. I think you're right. Man. Good looking out, Mark. I hope we don't burn our timeouts in the second half, and I hope Rocket plays, says James Swope. Yeah, we got a little ways to go. Friday, we're going to break down A&M. We're going to get more into that. We'll talk a little bit more about what's going on there. Tristan Turner, what's up, Ty? I feel good about this game, and I'm not one that normally feels that way, especially after losing 2 in a row. I think they get things straightened out. Be here Friday. We're going to talk. What's up, Ty? What's going on in a beer talk? What's going on, man? Hope you're doing well. Sorry, sometimes it takes me a little bit to get caught up on some of these. Check it, Ty. Check what? What am I checking? Brian, what's going on? We got a Tuss Talk with Ty YouTube member. The thing I never talk about. I never share links to that because I don't even know how you do it. I think you click a button there at the bottom. I would rather you check out Patreon. You guys know Super Chats are awesome. I appreciate the Super Chats. Those are always welcome. But Patreon is certainly a way of showing some support. Got to keep it growing. Got to keep it going. I want to break 60. I'm thinking basketball season we might get to 60. Steven 1383 says, can you imagine trying to rebuild a 2-10 program, having 2 winning seasons, overperforming against a ranked opponent, and having fans call for your job? Says Steven 1383. Okay. First off, and I know you're not saying that I am calling for Sam Pittman's job. Gotta pay for that Tuss Talk mobile. Yeah. Steven, here's what I would say to that. It's been 4 years, right? I mean, I only say if you're 3-9, 4-8, that conversation's going to be had between Hunter and Sam. I don't know. I feel like they're going to fire him if that's what happens. I'm not saying that it does. In fact, I don't think that it does. I think, and as I've mentioned before, if there's anybody who could turn this ship around, get this thing figured out. Of the last, how many coaches? Chad Morris, Brett Bielema, John L. Of the four, between Sam and those three, he's the guy that I think can turn this thing around. Players love him. And I know I kind of hate hearing that too all the time because, of course, they do. There's not a coach that's ever been through here where they just didn't, at one point or another, did they love the guy, right? Maybe Chad Morris might be the exception to that. But I've actually talked to people who actually the players really like Chad. Some of them, I'm not saying very many. I'm just saying that there were some individuals that really did like Chad. But I think they do respect him. He looks out for them in ways that I don't know very many coaches that have come through here have ever done. I watch him during practice. He walks like this. He's always, I don't know if it looks right. Let me pull up OBS. He walks and he does this thing right here. And he'll walk up to someone and he'll do this. And you'll see him like they're kind of having a good little back and forth with him. He communicates well with his players. He walked up to Rashard Dubinion. I actually have it on film. I didn't publish it. I probably could because Sam looks, he walks up to the running backs and he just goes, I know number 7's going to play. And he's clearly talking to the backs. He's talking to Rashard Dubinion. It might be a tactic to try to get the other backs excited and try and be like, well, I want that kind of praise. It could have been that. I think he was praising Dubinion. I think he was trying to praise him. He does stuff like that all the time. And sure, that might just be coaching antics. It happens everywhere. You got guys that love their coaches. Houston Nutt, we all know, was a big-time players coach. They respect him. Okay, so there's that side of it. And then he's got the talent to work with. I really – it's still hard for me to fathom that they lost to BYU. It's still, hard to comprehend. This is, I believe this is one of his more talented teams. Now, last year they were better on paper on that roster than 6-6. This year they're better. I think last year he did underperform, and he deserves a little bit of criticism for that. Absolutely. That staff and Sam deserve a little bit of criticism for that. But it's not all on the coaching staff either. You've got execution on the field. You got stuff that just doesn't go your way. There's things that are outside of their control. But at the end of the day, the coaches take the majority of that criticism. And I think Sam will tell you that's probably the way it should be. I think he's got the players, and I really like what they're doing on the defensive side of the ball with that staff. It's still, the second half against LSU was a little bit surprising, but not really because, we talked about the speed of that offense. But, I like what they're doing. Special teams, I can't complain this year so far. I really can't. Fountain, 4 years in, has finally maybe figured it out. He may have figured it out. Oh, my God. Arkansas might actually have a decent special teams. Yeah, Cam Little had the doink. Okay, he's done that twice. But he's still having a pretty good year. Your punter, who had a couple of horrific punts against a couple of weeks ago. Was that BYU? Why am I brain farting? That was BYU, right? Yeah. But the majority of his other punts have been great. Punt return, Centenia's a beast. Still have some issues with kick return. And the offense has KJ freaking Jefferson. If there's anyone who could get this thing turned around, and last year again they went 6-6. Right now, a lot of fans will tell you they don't think that's going to happen. I believe they can do it. They have the capacity to do it. Again, it's the respect for the coach, it's the love for the coach. I think their staff is a they're better on the defensive side of the ball for sure. I think they can. And again, Sam is the guy to do it. Hard not to root for Sam. You know what, though? Again, I know that the belief is he's either going to get fired or he's going to retire. I'm talking about down the road. I'm not talking about now. I think, obviously he's got a home here. Where is it? Is it Hot Springs? People talk about his statue he talks about his statue all the time. Where is it? Is it Hot Springs or Cave Springs or something? Yeah, he's probably going to retire, drink some old cold beer, watch football on Saturdays. Watch his former players on Sundays. You know what I mean? I wouldn't mind having a beer with him. Like, I wouldn't say that about Chad. I wouldn't. I don't know that I would say that about Bobby Petrino. I love what he did on the field. I'd give two shits about that guy off the field. And I know he had that heart-filled apology down in Little Rock. Don't really care. Houston Nutt, yeah, I would definitely love to sit and just talk to him and talk about old stories when he was here. I would totally sit down with Houston Nutt. I think that'd be a blast. But there's not very many coaches, and I think Sam would be one. I'd love to just hear him just kind of go on, maybe even talk about prior jobs and guys that he's coached. I don't know, have an old cold beer with him. Lake Hamilton, Hot Springs, okay. Sam's just a plain good dude. Yeah, I hope he gets it turned around. If you watch him, and obviously we've had him. Oh, whoops, wrong button. Well, I mean,
it might a little bit more. Obviously we watched it. It might.
Look at his face. I'm trying to. He doesn't look. Well, that's not a really good. If you look at the way he gives his responses, if you look at his face, I mean, he's wearing it, man. He is wearing it. He's not happy about what's going on. And again, for his own sake, I hope that he gets it turned around. I really do. I think he's too good of a guy to have to go through this stuff. He's never had to deal with this kind of losing and it fall on him. And he's feeling it. I mean, think about it. This is his first job as a head coach. He has probably never felt anything like this. As an offensive line coach, I'm sure he's been criticized. Nothing like this. I mean, you can just see it on his face. He is very disappointed. I mean, I'm kind of glad he brought up the mental health stuff. I really am. I'm glad that he did. He found the fountain of youth, says Bradley Dixon. So you won't turn up with Bert? No. I don't know. Early on, I thought that. I heard he always went to Dixon Street. He went to, I think, Doe's. I think a lot of people talked about him being at Doe's and how he was a lot of fun to be around. I don't know. Maybe I would. I just remember how we had 3 winning seasons in 9 years before Coach P. This is Steven, by the way. And we have had 2 out of 3 winning seasons under him, and I give him a pass for the COVID. Yeah, I don't really count year 1 either, Steven. In fact, I'm actually impressed with what he did in year 1. And that's seeing that product on the field in year 1 is what led me to believe they're going to win 8 games year 2. And they did that. I was very impressed. And I'm not saying that he ought to be fired. But we are talking year 4. And again, there are, I think, and I've said it before, I think there is a number. They're playing a numbers game right now. If let's say they only win 4-8 after winning just 6 regular season games a year ago, boy, that dynamic, that conversation changes. And fans, I mean, he quit Twitter the first time. It's only going to get worse, and he knows that. He talked about it. He talked about it on, was it Monday? It's going to get – that kitchen's about to get hot, man. If they tell Yurchek to fire Yurchek, we'll probably take up for him and get fired himself. I don't know about that. No, I think if they wanted him to replace – I think if they wanted him to – if they wanted Yurchek, if the guys upstairs wanted him to replace Sam, I think he would do it. Are people really wanting him gone? There are people. I mean, there's the glass is half empty all the time. People that want him gone now, that believe he's, the words "he ain't it" are coming back up. Those are the words. When you know that the tides have turned or things have gone sour, when that phrase starts popping back up, he ain't it. I remember the KJ stuff here. I had people telling me KJ ain't it. KJ ain't it going into the 2021 season. When I picked, in fact, that's what was funny. I said they're going to win 8. KJ's going to be fine. I didn't think he'd be as good as he was. I was kind of blown away. I did not predict that. He really was fantastic in 2021. But I said I saw enough in that Mizzou game. They're going to win 8, and this is why. And the most common response, and I'm pretty sure Fishman was one of them if he's in here, was saying he ain't it. He ain't it. Turn that into a bumper sticker. But I'm saying, again, if in case anyone came in late, if it becomes a numbers game if he can't get 6 or more. I think there's a discussion at 5 wins, and there might be a decision at 4 wins. That's what I'm saying. I don't know. I don't even want to approach that question yet, but I know I will eventually if this doesn't get turned around. I'm going to have to start talking. All right, we're looking at 3 wins. What do we do? What do you guys think we should do? You guys tell me. What would you do at 3 wins? If you go 3-9 after going 6-6 the year before, what would you do if you're an athletic director? But we're not having that conversation yet. We got to give Sam time, give him time to turn this thing around. If they fire Pittman, I guarantee you, Gus will be the next head coach. He still has really strong ties, as does Rhett Lashley. I mean, for the same reasons, similar reasons, to Springdale. They have very strong ties here. Don't know what that means. I think what matters is how strong your ties are to the U of A and how strong your ties are to Little Rock. Is that supposed to be – I agree 100%, Ty. If Coach P can't continue to produce winning seasons, we have a different conversation. Well, again, Steven, that conversation could be had this year, though. That's what I'm saying. If you're talking 3 wins this year, I think a decision's going to be made. I don't know that any school would – even maybe Vanderbilt might be the exception, that any school would have the same track record that Sam has had in these previous 3 years. Now, it does matter because at Alabama, he'd already been fired, right? So 6 wins is different at other schools, right? Like, you have to take that into consideration. Mizzou, he'd still be the guy. But I think even at a school like Mizzou this year, and Drinkowitz might be up against it, but they're off to a really hot start. I think Mizzou's going to be brought down to earth here very soon. But even at a school like Arkansas, and again, you do have to keep in mind every school has a different kind of threshold for wins and losses and years and, you know, the body work and all that. Like the body of work is what I'm trying to say. Every school has a different threshold for wins and losses. And I think Arkansas's this year, it's going to be 4 or less, and he might be again, I think it won't be a conversation. I think it'll be a decision at that point. Because, again, that's just not something – keep an eye on attendance from here on out, especially if they go on a losing streak. We'll see if that comes to an end this weekend. Of course, we're going to talk about it on Friday. But keep an eye on attendance. When those numbers start to drop, when people start buying – when you're not spending your hard-earned money, you're not going to the games, you're not buying the merchandise. Now, that stuff you don't see until a different quarter. You know they're monitoring that stuff. But when you start to see a decline in interest in Razorback football and you have 4 or 3 wins under your belt that year, I think there could be a decision made. As long as we finish with a better record than Vandy. I don't know, man. Vandy got off to a pretty good start. And for the record, I believe they're going to finish above that, and this conversation won't happen. I don't think there'll even be a conversation had, and nor do I think there's going to be an action, or there's not going to be a plan of action. I think they're going to be fine. I think they're going to figure it out. Maybe. I feel confident that they're going to turn it around. Maybe, I don't know. I'm sure plenty of you disagree. I know there's a lot of people that aren't real thrilled with what's happened so far. 2-2 should be at the very minimum 3-1. You could make a case for 4-0 right now, and we're all sitting here drinking the Kool-Aid together, right? If they're 4-0, they're ranked, because you went on the road. You were 3-0, probably not ranked after beating BYU, but then you beat LSU on the road, who was ranked. Yeah, you're probably looking at like top 15 right now, right? If you're 4-0, especially with all the top 25 opponents that dropped. Oh yeah, you're at minimum top 15, at minimum top 20, somewhere in the top 15. If you're 4-0 right now, we'd be having a completely different conversation. And what's crazy is, it's like 4 flags at key moments that have decided what you are right now. That's another reason why I think Arkansas can flip the script, can turn this thing around. If they are 4-0 right now, we go into the playoffs, to Steven. Well, you still have the gauntlet to get through, right? You still have this A&M game. And I do agree. If you were able to beat LSU, I think you could beat A&M in Arlington. Then you've got to deal with the remainder of that, right? You got Ole Miss. You've still got to go to Gainesville. Missouri looks better. I'm not going to say I think I don't know what they are. Are they fraudulent? I think they are. I think they're going to get brought back down to earth. Man, I'm struggling to find even 6 wins at this point. It says NA Beer Talk. This week, it's kind of crazy how much this week could control your destiny. I mean, really. We might be having an entirely different conversation on Monday. I don't know. The talent is there. Ty Pittman has done good with bringing in the talent. Just inconsistent play. I don't disagree with that. I really don't. He's got to find a way to win these close games, period. Oh, my God. So many close games, man, that they've lost. You just don't have confidence if this thing comes down to the final minute and you're trailing by a field goal. You just don't have confidence that they're gonna pull it out, and that's not fair. But that's the world we live in right now. That's the Razorback world we live in. Hey, on Saturday, I haven't made a formal announcement yet, but I'm going to here now. I probably should start off with this. I'm going to be doing this podcast right here on Saturday. Don't read the comments podcast. We're going to do a live, what do they call that? A side-by-side. We're going to be live while the game is on, and we're going to watch it all together. And again, it's don't read the comments. I've been on their pod once before. It's a lot of fun. They kind of talk about everything, but obviously they're diehard Hog fans. And they've invited me on to do a live reaction. You're going to get to watch us. We're going to all get to react together to what we're witnessing. Hopefully it's a lot more good than bad. But yeah, I'm excited for it. This is the first time ever. I've thought about doing something like this on my channel, but it's a lot to do something like that for every game, because then you're doing it for every football game, and then you're trying to figure out ways to do it for every basketball game, and then it's a lot. So I kind of decided against it, but this will be fun. They did one last Saturday, and I listened to it. The final 10 minutes, the fourth quarter. I had them on. I had the game on. I was actually a little bit ahead of them, and also trying to monitor Discord at the same time. But it was a lot of fun. So again, I will be there. Now watch along. That's it. NA Beer Talk's got my back. There you go. So there you go. Don't read the comments. So I'll be there Saturday. It'll be a lot of fun. If we lose this game, yeah, this will be a fun one to break down for sure. All right. That is going to do it. Again, shout out to the sponsors, Direct Service Overhead, the Garage Door Company, and, of course, the Odd Soul Craft Bar and Pizzeria located right here on Emma Street in Springdale. Of course, these are always fun to do. We're turning these Wednesday shows into Sam Pittman reaction shows, because Sam obviously talked to the media today. So that's kind of what we're going to do, I think, on Wednesdays. Didn't do it last Wednesday. Had a lot going on. But that's kind of what I want to do on Wednesdays. I enjoy doing these. So my prediction is that Max has the best game of his career. So I certainly hope not. Thomas Donnelly, what's up, man? Unfortunately, we're ending it. Hey, and don't forget, if you guys want to join, you want to support your guy on Patreon, again, here's the link. Oh, Lord. I thought I had it. Hang on. Maybe I still have it. Yeah, there we go. If you want to join Patreon, support your boy, you can do it there. I would love to break 60 Patreon supporters. That'd be awesome. Yeah, I'm hungry too, Brian. I'm about to go eat some dinner. So, yeah, thanks. Yeah. All right, you guys. I'll see you on Friday. We'll discuss A&M and whether I think Arkansas can beat them or not. So yeah, you guys enjoy the rest of your week, and I'll see you. I'll see you on Friday. All right, we'll do it Friday. I'll see you then.